Hi, I'm Diego.
And I'm Paula. We live in North San Diego County and work for our hometowns as city planners.
And together, with your input, we help our beloved communities plan for smart, sustainable growth. It's no secret that North County is an amazing place to live. Our great communities didn't just happen by accident. They are the result of years of careful community planning, requiring collaboration and dialogue between planners like us and city staff, the community, business leaders, developers, and finally, decision makers like elected officials.
You might be asking yourself, what exactly is city planning? Simply put, it's the planning of the construction, growth, and development of a town, city, or urban area. As planners, we are always thinking about the current and future needs of our communities. Our goal is to plan for future growth while balancing history and community character.
Planners have an incredibly important role to play in our city. They have the opportunity to influence and to shape the physical environment where we live, work, and play. Planners review and recommend projects based upon whether they meet our applicable laws, regulations, and policies. It's not a matter of whether a project should have one red door or two windows, but instead whether the project meets the plain meaning and intent of the laws and plans in place in our city.
Our local policies anchor all of our work. They encourage us to zoom out and keep the big picture in mind. This is important because not many projects are black and white from a planning perspective. There are shades of gray when it comes to the laws and our policies. In these cases, planners need to listen and lean on community input to make the best decisions. We work together to come up with a compromise.
Oftentimes, projects begin when a developer comes to a city wanting to build a project, or we recognize a community need, or we need to comply with state or federal government regulations.
If you see something being built in your community, you may wonder, what is this? And why is it here? Or who approved this? Whether you're in Del Mar or Cambria, there are specific policies in place that guide all planners in all cities throughout California. Every city has a general plan or a community plan that serves as a blueprint or a vision for that community. There are also specific plans that serve as a blueprint for a specific area or neighborhood.
Our aim is always to find solutions that work for everyone. We look to guidance from local planning policies for our decisions, and we focus on the bigger picture.
Planners have long been liaisons to the community, providing that bridge between local government and the constituency it serves. They help these community members understand federal, state, and regional priorities that impact their local communities, and they work with community members to balance these priorities with local concerns.
Most people don't realize that when planners review projects and make recommendations to decision makers regarding their approval, there's often years of planning and sometimes even decades that have gone into those projects. There's a lot of thought and intention behind these planning policies, so even if you don't see the work happening, it's there, just behind the scenes. Again, it's those great planning policies that result in great communities like the ones we enjoy here in North County.
Like Julie said, all cities look to their planning policies to decide what should go where in their city. This ensures that what we're planning makes sense and will work well in the community. We wouldn't put an industrial factory in the middle of a residential area. Instead, we'd rather identify a more appropriate location for the factory in the community.
Planners are always trying to find the right mix of uses for our community. It's a constant balancing act. We have to provide accommodation for growth while still preserving our community character. Where should we put housing, businesses, services, industrial, educational, places of worship, transit? These pieces all have to fit together in order to make the North County a great community.
Not only does a planner review every project against a city's planning policies, they also make a recommendation to the decision makers on nearly every project that is built in the city. These are complicated projects. It's our job to unpack them, provide education and information to the decision makers and the public so it's easier to understand. That's our role, and we're glad to do it in the communities we love.
So now you know a little more about what goes into making our North County communities great. Now what will you do? We look at you as an expert in being a resident or a business owner in our communities. We challenge you to think about your role in shaping your community. Whether it's volunteering on a city board or commission, providing input on an important city project, or watching a Zoom meeting of a city council meeting, we encourage you to continue to be part of the change you want to see in our communities.